Hey guys, how you doing? This is JP Saricolia from JP Sari Reviews, and today I want to change gears. I've been doing some stuff from Batman, and I will continue doing Batman reviews in the days to come. But I want to just change a bit and try something different. I always like to try different things. I don't want to, for this this channel to be stale in the content, so I try to spice it up a little bit here and there with new content day in and day out. So it's something new all the time. So I want to try something that I really like, and Absolute Danger Girl, which is, this is one of my treasures. This is one of the books that I love the most. One of my favorite book collections, the hardcover book. And this Absolute version is a must-have in my opinion. This one is not a new book. It came out back in 2004, so it's an oldie. So I've been having it for quite a while. But this one is one of my most precious book collections because, of course, it was hard to find for me. It was very limited. It is signed. And I really like it because I like Danger Girl. I like J. Scott Campbell's work. And it just came to mind to review this because, of course, recently Sideshow decided to release the new Danger Girl collection, the new Danger Girl statue, which is very nice looking, very nice. I'm not gonna get it, but I have the collections, I have the book, so I'm glad with that. I'm just happy with that. But here you got it. This is the Absolute version, and let me kind of show it to you so we can get into into this review. And you see, it's very, very nice and Absolute. This is just the case part. Absolute Danger Girl. You see J. Scott Campbell on the side, Andy Hartnell, who is actually the co-writer of this story. There's a signature there just for the art. Here you can see Absolute Danger Girl, Campbell, Hartnell, Cliffhanger, and DC Comics. And that moment, Cliffhanger actually was the imprint for Wildstorm. It was an imprint from Wildstorm, who at that moment belonged to DC Comics. That's the reason why we got the Absolute. And this was actually done in the year, it was printed before actually Cliffhanger was shut down the same year. So this was the last collection that they were able to produce. But here, Cliffhanger, very nice. And of course, this collection here, there are two books there, and we're going to look at them. Now, removing the books from the case, now we have these two books that come in the collection. You have the Absolute Edition book that contains the stories, of course, and you have the Sketchbook. And this actually you can find now separately. There's a new edition that came out no long ago that is a revised version of this, and it has some extra pages, some extra sketches, but that's about it. Nothing that we haven't seen before in other books from Scott Campbell. But here, this is the story itself. There was a deluxe version not long ago, and that deluxe version has some extra content, just a few more pages, but there's no much difference from this. Just a bit different parts here and there, and I'm going to point that out in just a moment. But if you move this book and you look at here, of course, you look at the back, the Danger Jack. There's some very cool pinup art, and of course the introduction. This is explosive action in exotic locales, high adventure, laced with mystery and intrigue, sexy girls trying to save the world. This is Danger Girl, the Absolute Edition, and very cool. Of course, this was again printed by Cliffhanger. Pretty cool in the back. Now the sketchbook, as you can see right there, very cool. And here in the back, of course, Danger Girl, very, very cool. And Colossal Collection is a must-have. Now, removing the dust jacket for the main book, here you see it has this kind of like a red, burgundy, leathery binding. Well, it's fake leather, but it looks great. I love the how charming this is. I love how classy it looks. Danger Girl, it's just there embossed, and of course there's nothing there. Here, of course, you got Danger Girl, the Absolute Edition, Cliffhanger, DC Comics. Very nice here, and that's about it. Now let's just open the book. This one, the binding, of course, I haven't really used. I barely grabbed this book. I really don't really mess it too much, but the binding is perfect. Of course, it's like any other Absolute by DC, and of course you can choose your pages. It's very cool. You see this beautiful sketchy art here, and you go into it. This is it was signed, so this was a very so it was hard to get really, because it was you see the amount. This is number 126 of 3012, so it's very, very limited. and it has the signature, of course, from J. Scott Campbell. And here you go, you start. This is, says the Absolute Edition. The Deluxe Edition has the same lettering. But it says, of course, the Deluxe Edition. But everything is the same. The only difference that I found, and I'm going to point that out. Let's go. There's a table. Well, no table of content, but it gives you the idea of who was part of this. It's Scott Campbell, Andy Hartnell, and of course all the inkers, the colors. So all of this pretty cool. I love the pages here. I love the quality of the paper. Introduction by, in this case, by Bruce Campbell. Pretty cool. September 2001. And there is, of course, another introduction by Andy Hartnell. He did a very good, for those who didn't know Andy Hartnell, he has done a lot of stuff for Wildstorm. He did a lot of stuff for them. And he has done stuff for Dynamite. He does stuff for IDW. And he started with the prologue. Now, the difference between this and the deluxe version is that the deluxe actually has the pages, the art page on the front, and then it has this second page. So it's the only difference you're going to see here. But besides that, it's pretty much the same thing, the same art, the same colors. Nothing has really changed. But I love it. I love this collection when it came out because it was very cheeky. It was very cool, very nice. I would say that the art is pretty good. Because Scott Campbell has a way to really represent women that I don't think no one else in the industry right now has the ability to do it the way he does. This cartoony style, very sexy style, I think that's one of the reasons why people love him. Of course, this is the introduction to the Danger Girl, of course. His art is just phenomenal. I've been a fan of his art since Gen 13, so that's been many years from now. So love the way he does his art. I know a lot of people might find it too strong in the sexy part, but in my opinion, it's just cool. I really like the way he depicts women, or the way he depicts them. But the best part of it, that they're pretty, they're beautiful here, of course, unrealistic, by dimensions, but they are very strong characters. These are not your weaklings, damsels in distress looking for a man to save them. They're just strong. And of course, he takes a lot of, when he created this story, he took a lot of cues from, Charlie's Angels, from, James Bond stuff, from Indiana Jones. So he took a lot of inspiration from a lot of those things, where you can see. Now, let me talk about Scott Campbell. Look at this. Pretty cool. Scott Campbell, according to his biography, he didn't like comics as a kid. He liked, like many other kids, cartoons. That was his thing. He loved that. It was through the art of, I think, Art Adams, that he found it to be very good, and he started loving the art. And he was as a teenager, started drawing and drawing and drawing. A fun fact, he actually participated in a campaign by Nintendo Power, the magazine, back in 1989, and he won. He was 15 years old. And he won the first prize. He had to create some type of art for comic book art. For video game art. Kind of create a character for video games, and he created a character, and he won. So he was already have that that desire to create stuff, and people love what he was doing. So he was very young, and he, after high school, of course, he went in to do his solo projects, start to kind of sending his art to different imprints and doing some type of gigs here and there for promotional art. And it was at Comic-Con, I think it was 1993, where he was able to contact, and it was the same year, I think, with when Wildcats came out, and Jim Lee and his Wildstorm imprint, Wildstorm Studio, was part of Image Comics, was looking for good artists. Was looking for people to kind of take to bring him in, people that are new, that are hungry for to do more in the industry. And he found them, and automatically Jim Lee knew that this kid had the potential, and he hired him pretty much on the spot. Send him a letter saying that he wanted to work for him. So he moved from Colorado all the way to California, to San Diego, to work for Jim Lee, which to me will be like, wow. Working for Jim Lee would be the greatest thing ever. So he went to work for him, and it was something very, very good for the kid. He started doing some stuff for him, for doing some covers, doing some little things here and there. But then, of course, little by little, then he became a co-writer with Brandon Choi also, and Jim Lee, the creators of Gen 13. He also became part of as a co-creator. He started doing work with them, and he wrote with that, and he stayed until issue number 20. So, and his art became very, very popular. That's what people kind of took notice of who this kid was, and that's when he became very, very popular. And then a few years later, of course, we're still working for Wildstorm. He created his own imprint, which was Cliffhanger, and he did that with Humberto Ramos, and also I forgot the name of the other artist. He did that with Madureira, and they created this imprint, and they started doing their own work, and of course that's what he created this one right here, which is Danger Girl. And to me, the first time I saw Danger Girl, the first time I read it, I was in love. Just the introduction to Danger Girl, to me, that was it. I love his art. I love the way he did it. I love how cheeky it is. It doesn't take it very seriously. It understands what it is, understands exactly what it wants to accomplish. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of representations of real life characters, pop culture characters. So it makes a lot of reference to all of that, and it makes it very, very, very good and very cool. So look at this. I really love this. These pages are good, and this format is the greatest. Yes, the deluxe version, I don't have it physically, but I have it digitally, and this is the same thing as this one. It just has extra pages, but the book itself is just the same thing as you're seeing right here. It's the same, nothing changes. Of course, it's probably smaller in size than this, which make it smaller, but still I think that's a good thing. If you're able to find this one, and I know for a time it was really expensive to find, I think it was about $300 at some point, but now I think some people are selling for a lot less because of course there's other versions. Scott Campbell has stayed busy by reprinting this collection in different formats. Regardless of the format, whether it is the big one or the small one, I highly recommend if you have never read this, to really get it and find it, whether it's your own digital, or whether it's in softcover, or whether it's the deluxe version, or whatever version you are able to find. I highly recommend it. It's fun. Like my previous reviews I have with Lara Croft, it takes some cues from that as well. But this one amps it on the way that it's more about the fun factor. It's not as serious as that was. This is a little more, it's fun, there's a little more comedy, there's a lot of comedic elements, there's a lot of very interesting characters, and the art itself is just phenomenal. It's just great. And look at this, the colors are well, this is the part where I was complaining in some reviews. Some people were complaining about the art as well, with some of the new prints or new reprints or new recoloring for some collections that have done digitally. A lot of people hate digital recoloring or coloring. I personally don't. I think if it's done right, like in this book, like it was done here, then it's phenomenal. This was remastered, but it was done the right way. And that's the part where I feel that when you have artists that know what they're doing, when you have people that really know how to operate and change the colors, you make it great. This is not dark, this is not light, it just has the perfect balance. And of course, here you go, chapter 5. Love this design here with this guy. So it takes a lot of it. What I like at this is that always there's an introduction, as you can see right here. This clear introduction from the previous, it kind of keeps you up to speed. So if you were not really reading the previous issues, you were not lost. You can just simply grab the new one and and read what everything that has happened before previously, and then you go into it. So this is something that I think Scott Campbell took from his childhood as watching cartoons. As you remember, back in the day, the cartoons always have the little episode with it, or the little part that says previously, and you have this, and they give you an idea. So you actually get up to speed with the stuff. I really love it. And one thing about Scott Campbell, he has done phenomenal over the years is the way he does the art. Very, very good, very sexy, but the best part is that it's very clear of what it is. Sometimes a lot of the newer artists have been accused, of course, of creating an art that is very hard to follow. I don't think that was the problem. I think under the guidance, the proper guidance of Jim Lee and his own, I think he's very good. I love his panel layout. It's vivid. It's very good. It's explosive, but it's clear, so you know exactly how to follow the eyes. And of course, the eye candy, which is the best part of this book, at least for a lot of people, this is what makes this collection a must-have, I would say. It's fun, but it doesn't rely. Some books rely so much on it to the point that it's all it is. There's no story in it, and this book has that. It has a story, a very interesting one, a very fun one. This is like watching a movie, a fun movie, and that's the good part. Look at this introductions. I love that. This is what, he is good at. I have a lot of the books from Scott Campbell. I've been collecting his art books over the years. I have them pretty much all. I have a few that are still missing, but I have them all. And I love it, and to be honest, they're not that cheap, especially if you order from his website. But once you get them, oh man, I just love to watch it. It is to see the art. It's hard to think about. I don't really care much about some of the collections of the comic books that he has written, done covers for. I just love his covers, and sometimes I used to be very gullible and end up buying the books or the issues, and the art was terrible and the story was terrible. But the only reason I bought it was because of his art. So I learned my lesson, saying I'm not going to buy any more of his cover or whatever he's doing as covers and as single issues unless I know that the art the story is good. And what I do is just get the art the book collections of the art, with his art, and I think that's, to me, a smarter thing to do. I'd rather do that than just buy issues that I don't care too much about. So as you can see, there's a lot of it. Of course, here you see Hitler. He makes fun of it. It's part of the story here. You have to kind of read the story to know. I don't want to give you more. This is a classic panel. A classic one that you can see in a lot of places. A beautiful one. Very sexy and very strong. But look at that. Very cool. So yes, it really plays the sex part a lot, and it's just okay. And that is part, it is okay. Actually, this is not included on the deluxe section, on the deluxe book. This not. It's something different. Well, it's here. It's actually with this one, it's included there, which was kind of strange the way they format it. But here, and there's another one, of course, another classic one there too, that is just the same post. But here you go. The stories are just a few. There's not many, but it's just explosive, and the art is good from beginning to end. It is just one of those. Look at this dude. It's funny. What does remind you? Okay. All right. Reminds you of a lot of things, in pop culture. So everything he poured into this, all his childhood things, all his favorite shows from the 70s and 80s, all that poured into this story, which makes it so great. And of course, Danger Girl we have seen. Look at this one. Danger Girl we have seen. Some after this, there have been many other shoots of this, things that he has written, and they've been done by other artists. I follow all of them. I also own most of them. But of course, I don't think that none of them have been as superior as this one, at the original one. Of course, this was, it was magic. It was definitely wisdom. It was the genie in the bottle. He just created everything, came out of this. A lot of good things came out, and I think that's where he actually cemented his popularity, Scott Campbell. Of course, Gen 13, everybody loved him, and many artists have done great things, but it has to be something that becomes your signature style, and this was his signature. This was actually the $1 million ticket for him to become very popular, and he has bank on it for so long, and that's what he does nowadays. And if you can follow him, he goes to all the conventions, that big conventions, and people love to follow him, and they love his art. And I don't blame him, because I do too. I love what he does here, and here's the end. Well, there's no end. And then there's the cover gallery. This is also included in the collection, in the deluxe edition, and here you can see this is art. So all of this is included there. Pretty cool art, pretty iconic at this standard. Very good. This is the first issue, the 0 issue. Of course, here are the covers. They're also included on the deluxe edition. Also, this section is there, like I said. So you got issue 1, then issue 2, 3. You got 4. You got issue 5. You got 6. Very cool. I like this one. 7. That's issue 8. Issue 9. And here is something actually it's not included on the deluxe edition. If I'm not mistaken, it's not there. This is just here, and this is just a very good poster. Look at that, with the Danger Girls team. But it's not included, of course, there. And there is another Danger Girl. Let me see if I can move it around so you can see it. Cool. You see? Well, very good. This is not included there. And then it moves to this. Okay, and this is actually I just remember, I just forgot. Well, this is as you know, y'all remember Adam Hughes. This is Adam Hughes. And here you go. There's other artists. I forgot. and I have it. I know what it is, but I don't remember. This is Humberto Ramos, I think. I don't know. I'm just so excited looking at this art. And of course, this section here, pretty cool. All of that included over there as well. Here you go. So the deluxe section has more pages, ends here. And there's another section. There's extra bonuses. There's some photos of some cosplayers, and there's also some other art, some other collections that have come after this. Of course, this was printed before those collections, like Back in Black. Some of those collections came about, so they're included there. And then you have the sketchbook. They're also included there. And there's very small sketchbook, very small section, and pretty cool. Some extra things that he did, you know, extra work. And then, of course, talks about the creators. You have Andy Hartnell and, of course, J. Scott Campbell, which they both co-wrote this story. And, of course, the art was by Scott Campbell and other people. I like the pictures of this, or the photos of this when they were kids. It's pretty cool. And this is the end for this book. Of course, and we cannot forget the sketchbook. I removed the dust jacket. As you can see, it's Scott Campbell. This looks like pencils. Very nice. Danger Girl sketchbook. Pencil work. Love the leather feel of this. Very small, very classy. There you see Danger Girl sketchbook, and here just the signature there. Well, the image, the logo there, and of course Cliffhanger logo as well. Now, if you look at the book, and like I said, there's another expanded version already. Love this. Love the paper. This type of, you know, pencil paint paper that they use. A sketchbook, very good art. There's, you know, other books that have come out. Also, there was one 3 years ago that was printed, and you can find it it's available in Amazon, where actually you can see at the story of Scott Campbell and, you know, everything he has done, and he talks and expands on it. But I love this here on this collection. It comes as a bundle, you know, which is pretty good. Love the quality of the paper. Silicon Valley, like her. She's very, very funny. I got Sydney. You know, very cool. Valerie, you look at all these characters. Deuce, that was his name, pretty accurate name. Johnny Barracuda, you know, very cool. I don't know, love the art, love the sketches that he did here. Presents a lot of sketching. You know, he's just great. He's just phenomenal with his art. And the best part is that he is self-taught. He didn't go really to school to learn all of this, but he comes from a very, very talented family. They're involved in graphic design, people, you know, families that are involved in things like that. So it seems that he was raised in a very, very artistic family, and you can see it in the way he does here. You know, some people are natural. You know, he's a natural, and his art is here. You know, some people like Adam Hughes, for example, like I was forgetting his name just a while ago, but they are natural. They just I don't know, they have the ability, they were born with it. Some people have to work really hard at it, some people don't, you know, it's just the way it is, you know, which is good. You know, there's no envy on it, you know, it's good. You know, everyone has their own abilities. Look at this design of the weapons. It's another great part of his art, is that he takes a lot of inspiration, and he doesn't reinvent things like some artists that, you know, I would say that they created a gun that has nothing to do with the gun. Like in the 90s, you saw a lot of it. People like, I don't know, like Rob Liefeld, they make a gun that was completely inaccurate. There's no guns like that. You know, this is not like, I would say 100% accurate, but he takes a lot of inspiration, and he's a good observer, and he copies things, and his dimensions are great for what they are, you know, very comic-y, but very sexy at the same time. So, you know, definitely, he is part of that movement, that, you know, that wave of artists from that part of the 90s, like Ramos, Madureira, like Bacallo, all these people, Bacallo, and all of them, they were introduced something special to comics. You know, this art, which is very good, and you know, we love art. I do, you know, we all do. And here you have more. So very, very cool. Look at this, postcards, very good. I like that. I like everything here. It's very cool. Definitely, it's very, very, very cool. I love it. You know, this is a great addition. This is definitely, I love it. For someone that loves art, for someone that loves the design of art, I think this is a must-have. Okay, the colors are very nice. The sketchbook, there's more art. The paper is different now. This is more like the paper that they use for the other book. The Grifter, love this. Very cool. Right next to Abby Chase. Of course, there's more. Very nice. I'm definitely gonna review some of his stuff very soon. You'll get some of his art books, and so you can see, and some of them I haven't seen videos of them, But here you go. Very good. Hip flask. Cool. Definitely good. And of course, and then ends right there. Of course, the deluxe, like I said, has more pages than this. Now, in conclusion, do I recommend this book? I certainly do. I really, really do. And I want to give you this. Whatever I own, whatever I have in my collection, I like. And that's the reason it's still in my collection. So it's hard for me to really recommend something that I don't have, you know. So yes, I'm gonna say yes, I do recommend it. However, and I'm gonna make this extension, this collection might be too expensive for you to find right now. It might be above what you're willing to pay or what actually you should pay for this book. So I would recommend you maybe to try a different route. For example, whatever you have in this collection, you will find it on new reprints and even more content. The deluxe version will be my way to go. Is that you have it in, not only on the hardcover book, you also have the softcover book. It's the deluxe version, has everything you need, and some extras that are not included here. So I would go for that. I know that it's been a new reprint of some of the stuff, I think recently, so I would go for that one. I highly recommend it. Now this one, there's a new one that was sold separately, that is an expansion of this one, has more pages. So I will go for those, and you will save more money than just trying to get this on the aftermarket. However, I do recommend Danger Girl, whether you do it physically, whether you do it digitally, whether you do it different collections. I highly recommend it. I think Scott Campbell is a great artist. I love his art. I love the youthfulness of it. I love not only the art, because this is the part, it's not about the art, it's the story itself is very fun and entertaining, and definitely deserves the attention of any person that is willing to really give it time. So I highly recommend it. So, you know, once again, thanks for watching this video. Please share your thoughts about it. If you like this, are you a fan of Danger Girl? Are you not a fan of Scott Campbell? Just let me know on the comments below, and don't forget, continue following this channel and watch my videos, and please share that with your friends. So once again, thank you, my friends, and God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.